Well, we had breakfast this morning with Diana Whitney and began to talk about John Schotter and some of the wonderful experiences that we've had over the years. And Diana wanted to be here with us making this video, but alas, she had to leave. But I must say that Mary and I have enjoyed very much telling these kinds of stories, partly because John has been part of our lives for about 36 years. Off and on visiting us, we visited him, we would meet at conferences and so on. And there was a lot to be said about the serious parts of John and the intellectual exchanges that we've had over the years. A whole lot to be said, a lot of it is written. But we thought we would just share some of the lighter moments, lighter times with you. I mean, for example, simply the meeting John in the first place, because we were in the sort of midst of this early revolutionary stage in our own life in terms of the social sciences, and we were at Oxford at the time and talking with Ram Hari, who said that we really ought to meet John Schotter, who'd been written a wonderful book on images of man and psychology. And he was giving a talk at a conference, and that we should really go there. So we did, and we were rather horrified at the form of interchange at this conference, because after John's talk, there must have been 150 people there. The criticism was so acerbic and so cutting. It was beyond anything we've ever experienced in the United States. I mean, simply to get up and say, everything that Schotter has said is just pure rubbish, we couldn't imagine it. So we felt so bad for John. Of course, later we realized that's just common in British circles, but we went up and sought him out afterwards and tried to comfort him. He didn't need it. He's a very powerful, resilient character. But we became fast friends at that point, and it's continued, I think, for 36 years.
Right, and still going. We would see John wherever we were. He always managed to come and find us and spend time with us, and he seemed to love to drive and come visit us.
For hours he could drive. He
Yeah.
would drive for 7 hours to come for dinner.
He was down in North Carolina, and he drove up to visit us, and I think we'll tell some stories about his visits in a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was when we once went to John's house in Nottingham to visit him.
First time, yeah.
The first time. And I think if there was a headline, it would be Bloomsbury, Nottingham.
Or Bloomsbury North, yeah. Right.
It was an amazing experience. It was somebody's birthday, and there must have been overall throughout it, the whole time, there might have been 100 people sort of shuffling through. And John and Anne and their 4 kids lived in this massive estate house. It was an odd house.
Rambling old house.
And it was so full of life. And I remember one of the strange things is that the living room was on the 2nd floor, remember? And in the 1st floor, there was a kitchen, and Anne hung their washing in it. It was a huge kitchen, and remember, there were sheets and things hanging. At any rate, there was wine in the dining room, huge boxes of wine. It was the first time we saw boxes. And then outside there were people, and I think there was a pool, and people were sliding down. And the weirdest thing, though, was there was a window in this room, and people used it as a door. And I remember their little son, Joe, sort of hopping over the window ledge to get outside. And then everyone went in and out of the window.
Oh, including a man in a white suit who somehow came in and out.
And there was a miner.
Yeah, it was a miner sitting in some other room looking off into the distance.
It was full of fun and energy, and people who loved the Schotter family. Oh, and their daughter Laura, who's now a PhD psychologist and also a CPA and also a pilot, at that time was in love with Boy George, and she had dyed her hair blue, and I thought that was quite liberal of them.
I want to talk about one of his visits here,
Okay.
because he would often come around holiday time. And we had this habit of trying to find a tree in the forest for Christmas if
That we
could.
didn't have to pay
That we didn't
for.
have to pay for, and we have a big forest around here, but it became increasingly difficult to find anything. But we found something that was on the top of a very tall tree. There was a beautiful, perfect Christmas tree, but you had to climb up about 30 feet. We can't do it. But John, in his heroic, say, "I'll do it." And sure enough, he climbs up 30 feet with this hatchet and chops off the top of the tree and brings it back so that our Christmas will be fine.
Yeah, yeah. And another time he came for Thanksgiving, and it was an amazing time at Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, we have a ritual of coming together with several families, and we play games, children's type games. Of course, every year more and more people are injured, and the type of games we play has to be more restricted. But once when John was here, I'll never forget it, because John, to me, was always this kind of sexy guy. And I'll never forget, he took off his shirt because it was very warm, and we were playing kickball outside, and he wore this black undershirt, and his muscles were showing. And Wolfgang Sträuber was here too, and he just sat in a chair in his cashmere coat and watched. But John was out there kicking the ball and playing with the
Was
kids.
he playing in his white bucks?
Oh yeah.
What about his nice, what was it, a red vest? I can't remember the color.
Well,
It was
he
beautiful
had a
red.
beautiful red scarf. And John was handsome, has been always handsome and well dressed, but he's also, kind of pretty sure his hat is
kind of
on
a
just
Beau
right.
Brummel
Yeah.
of the intellectual set.
Right. Yeah, he acts casual about it, but he does enjoy being a looker.
And after one of these visits, by the way, here, we went off skiing together. And Mary and I had never been skiing, so we were going to learn. And went up to New Hampshire. And we were going to take lessons, but John was going to go ahead and ski. But it was freezing cold. It was like so cold. I had to wear a ski mask for lessons, but it froze onto my face. It was that cold. And it wasn't very much snow. It was mostly ice. This is the first time we'd ever been skiing, so we didn't know the difference. But I mean, we never wanted to go back. We did after we found out what skiing was really like. But John was going to say, "Perfect day. I'm going to go off skiing." And so he went up into the mountains. And he came back in the afternoon, and his clothing was torn, and he had a big spore place on his forehead where he'd fallen. It was like he'd been in a fight with the mountain. Great day skiing.
We didn't want to go because it was so cold, and we had an old car, a 9-seater Buick station wagon for, to haul around all our kids. And we said, we don't know if this car will make it. And John said, "Well," he said, "I have been a mechanic for the Air Force, and I know all about cars, and we'll do fine." And of course, one of the things that happened was,
well, we didn't do fine, and John's best efforts didn't seem to do very much with so in fact we ran out of transmission fluid, and
that wasn't his fault, of course, that we didn't have transmission fluid, and we had to abandon the car in some little town in Vermont, and
where it still lies.
Yeah.
All right.
He came to visit in Heidelberg.
Oh, the Heidelberg, yeah. One thing about Heidelberg, there's a wonderful pathway up through the mountains on the other side of the Neckar River called Philosophenweg, or the Philosopher's Way, or path. And I thought, well, we just have to go on this path because we talk so much. and it would be a wonderful place. And it's a fantastic view over the valley to the castle and the town, this medieval town below. And and you can talk and watch, and it's supposed to be inspiring. Well, as things go, we're talking away, and John is quoting various people, including himself, and we would walk. But I would keep trying to turn towards the view, and I realized finally, as we reached the top, he had never looked off to see the view. And I said, John, you really must, see what this incredible place. Well, he did a look appreciatively, but only for a few moments, because we want to go back, because we're really in the middle of something, and this has got to be pursued. Yeah, I thought, well, that's all right. Our friendship is made of many things.
John, I think, was most alive when he was talking with his textual friends. I think you were the closest to an actual person that he wanted to speak with, but he was much more at home with Vico and Wittgenstein and Volosinoff or whatever. Yeah. And I remember his little study in his New Hampshire house, and he would just be surrounded. He could reach every one of his textual friends just a yard away. And meanwhile, we were out in his canoe or fishing or swimming off his dock and doing all the fun things that we thought he should be doing when he was living there.
Yeah, the books were really, really important. I remember also a time when we were in Utrecht and he was teaching there, and we had helped him buy a car. And it was this nice little car, but at the end of the day, when we would go out to the parking lot, I could never find the car. It was like, what did that car look like, and where in this parking lot could it be? It was like an open space. There was a car, but it wasn't important in my life.
Yeah, he never liked that car. He only liked Saabs, I think. That was his favorite. Shall we?
Yeah, well, look, we thought we would maybe finish this off with just a little bit of another variation on tale, because John had told us an awful lot about when he had directed Waiting for Godot, and I think he was quite proud of that. And so we went back and to look at the text and sort of reading through it, and thought, what would it be like if he were directing today, but he was more laissez-faire with it and would allow his actors to be a little bit more imaginative and to try to relate to him more fully. What would that play look like? So we thought we'd just do an excerpt of the play by actors who are really devotees of John's. So let us have 20 seconds off stage. You there?
I'm here.
Wait for me.
Okay.
Let's go.
We can't.
Why not?
We're waiting for Godot.
Oh, God. And to leave would not be dialogically responsive.
What's this? Are you doing witness thinking?
Well, I'm not certain what I'm about, but, well, he said we're supposed to wait.
Yes, he said by the tree.
But that's not a tree. It's a conversational reality.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's a willow.
Oh, where are the leaves?
Must be dead.
Well, it may be dead, but isn't this a living moment?
It's a dead willow. No more weeping.
But my weeping is a spontaneously expressed bodily reality.
Looks to me more like a bush.
Oh, life is so chiasmatic. I'd call it a shrub.
A bush and a shrub, a cross between?
Well, what are you insinuating? Is it just a conversational reality, or have we come to the wrong place?
He should be here. It's a joint action, him and us.
Well, he didn't say for sure he would come.
And if he doesn't come?
Well, we'll come back tomorrow. Maybe then the inner life of another living being can become apparent to us.
And then I suspect the day after tomorrow?
Yeah, and maybe then we can experience a real presence.
And so on.
The point is that ordinary people get on pretty well without their lives needing philosophers to tell them the right ways of proceeding.
Well, until he comes.
Oh, you're merciless.
We came here yesterday.
No, there you're mistaken.
Well, what did we do yesterday?
What did we do yesterday? What happened to our embodied agency?
Yes.
Why, nothing is certain when you're about.
In my opinion, we were here.
You recognize this place?
I didn't say that.
Well, what language games are you playing then?
That makes no difference.
All the same, that tree, that bog, it's calling out to us.
You sure it was this evening?
He said Saturday. I think I must have made a note of it. Something. I must have a note here somewhere.
But what Saturday? And is it Saturday or Thursday?
Well, you know the importance of comparisons and elaborating the relational understandings of the everyday cannot be overemphasized. So what will we do?
If he came yesterday and we weren't here, you may be sure he won't come again today.
But you say we were here yesterday.
I may be mistaken. Let's stop talking for a minute. Do you mind? I can't take another arresting moment.
No. All right.
Use your head, can't you? Use your head. You're on Earth, and there's no cure for that.
Well, not even Marmite on toast?
Well, or Bubble and Squeak?
Or black pudding?
Spotted Dick.
Toad in the hole?
Mushy peas.
Well, maybe no cure then. Maybe should wait for some new textual friends.
Right.
Goodbye to all. We hope you have a wonderful time together. We wish we could be with you.